Patreon Q&A number 53. I want to thank all 69 of my nice patrons. Guys, I hope you know by now that this really means the world to me. Like, your continued generosity and support that you've shown me so far is really one of the highlights of my life, easily, and I can't thank you enough for it. I've also decided I'm going to make these Q&A videos better. I'm going to add some more content in them, and, it's not a lot, but I just hope that it makes it a little more enjoyable for you guys. So thank you again. And to everyone else listening, there's going to be some spoilers in these questions and answers, so tread carefully after this point. Joseph K. asks, hey Shonen, how strong do you think Deep Sea King would be if the battle was in the ocean? Which S-Class heroes would be able to deal with him in the water, slowing their movements, with them having come up to breathe and him being maximum power the whole time? So this is a good question. And this is a question that I've been seeing going around the community for, like, a long time now. And it makes sense because when we saw Deep Sea King, we found out that he was dry and he was already super powerful at that point, was able to take out Prairie Prisoner with style. And then we saw that, when it rained, it hydrated him and made him even more beastly. So it's only natural to think, what would this guy be like in his natural habitat, the place that he's actually the king of, the friggin' ocean? And I think it's safe to say that he would be a dragon for sure. I mean, because, I speculate that, his hydrated form, just him being rained on, is pushing him to, above demon territory. I think so, right? I mean, it's subjective, of course, and there are some things that conflict with him being that level, but if just him being rained on gave him a significant increase in size, speed, and strength, him being submerged would, I feel, push him even further. So I don't think it would be as drastic of an increase as him going from dry to hydrated, because he's already hydrated. But it would probably make him a little bit bigger, since he would be fully hydrated. We don't really know how satiated he was from the rain, but obviously it's not the same as being underwater. So him being underwater, I think, would push him to definite dragon level. So I'm not going to say that he's like a high dragon underwater, because that's a little ridiculous to think that he would gain that much of a power boost. I'm just talking about strength overall, not how he would be able to perform underwater. That's a whole other thing. And in theory, that could push his disaster level higher. But just off of strength, I'm going to say that, he would be a definitive dragon, low, maybe mid. Maybe. At the highest, he would be mid. But just to be safe, he would definitely be a lowish type of dragon. But a dragon nonetheless. And, maybe he gets bigger, possibly, but just the fact that he's underwater, he'd essentially be flying, because he could already kind of move through the air like he is flying, but he can't fly. So he would be like a vaccine man, underwater, or like a Superman, just moving however he wanted, wherever he wanted, super fast, maybe even, so fast that he's, faster than Sonic, because just on the surface moving in the rain, he's almost as fast as Sonic, so maybe he can go ultrasonic. In speed underwater. And then his strength would be higher and everything. It would just be awesome to see. Maybe one day we'll get a bonus chapter where we see a VGS underwater. Probably not, but it would be cool nonetheless. But as for the heroes going against him, it's not looking good for a lot of them, because we haven't really seen a lot of them deal with stuff underwater, and we already saw that guys like Prairie Prisoner just got wrecked by him being dry on the surface. So I guess Child Emperor, he, in Brave Giant, would probably be able to take care of a Deep Sea King underwater, because we saw what he did underwater initially. One of the very few times we actually see a hero competing underwater, when he was going against Phoenix Man, he did that Gigavolt Smash and just totally destroyed the zombified Subterraneans and was able to defeat the zombified Hellfire and Gale Dragons in their monster forms. So I feel like if he were to beat Brave Giant, went underwater, he would just Gigavolt Smash him and then take him out that way. And then maybe Drive Knight could compete underwater too, because he doesn't have to breathe, and maybe he has some kind of underwater upgrades. It seems like he could just do a whole bunch of upgrades with that box, and I'm sure he has a submarine mode or something, possibly. Genos too, possibly, but he would be hindered by not being able to use his fire stuff, but I doubt Genos has to breathe. It doesn't seem like he has lungs. And then maybe Watchdog Man, because dogs are good swimmers, and maybe he can move around underwater pretty good. That remains to be seen. And then aside from that, I guess Blast. Blast, I'm sure none of the elements really affect him, and he would just wreck him underwater regardless. And then maybe Tatsumaki could put a psychic barrier over herself, where she can move freely and Maybe breathe too, possibly. It seems like something Tatsumaki could do. Also, have you noticed the running theme of the Monster Association arc is the monsters doing sneak attacks from behind the heroes? Nearly every executive has done or will do it. Black S with his massive arm, Gum eating pig god, Neon slashing Purry Purry, Homeless Emperor magically appearing behind Zombie Man, Psychos that thing to Tatsumaki. Evil Natural Water will appear behind Saitama. For all their strength, these monsters don't like frontal confrontations, do they? One must really love doing sneak attacks. Of course, Garo at least had the decency to warn Fubuki that he was there before he obliterated her. Honestly, these monsters should be ashamed of themselves. That is funny, and I like that you brought that up, because that is a recurring theme. And I think it more so just goes with how one wants to depict these characters, have like that sense of fear built up. And also, like, these characters don't know where they're going. They're just underground, randomly, aimlessly going around, just trying to figure out things. So they're just randomly as a cadre behind them, and it's awesome. But also, Giro can psychically pinpoint the locations of characters. So we can just assume that she told them where they were specifically, so that's how they were able to get the jump on them. But it also adds that, that fear of surprise and fear. Bonus, what is your favorite starter Pokemon? Have a great week, man. Hey, you have a great week too, Joseph. My favorite starter, if we're going off of potential, is Froakie, because I love Greninja, and Froakie's not too bad either. But just starter, just by themselves, Charmander. I know that's basic, but man, he's so solid. Steven asks, Joe Esteds, Joe. Excellent review this week. Hey, thanks a lot, Steven. I appreciate that. Do you think Drive Knight will win? I think that would be discordant with the rest of what's going to happen in the story. For the first time they felt terror motif, one is building to. Drive Knight would have to get wrecked along with the rest of the heroes, right? But if he doesn't win, then who's left to fight the cat? Take it easy, dude. So you are very right. You are very correct. There is that motif, as you put it, that one is building with this arc. Having the heroes face defeat for essentially the first time, because we've seen them at such highs, and they've never really had to deal with real adversity. And most of them, if not all of them, do get wrecked at one point in this arc. But I don't think Drive Knight is going to be a part of that. I don't think he is a part of this whole storyline or the motif, as you put it. He's kind of doing his own thing. He has like his own little story going on here. Now, if Drive Knight was originally with the S-Class Strike team, then yes, definitely, he would get wrecked by Neon. But I don't think that's happening here. Drive Knight's kind of like existing in a vacuum, because we're closer to ever it being confirmed that he is a part of the organization. So I think him defeating Neon is going to supplement that whole story. But also, like I've always said before, Drive Knight has no feats. He doesn't have any big moments, as where the other S-Class heroes do. So that also is conflicting with what I think him being defeated here, because he doesn't have any high moments for him to just feel terror for the first time. Because he's only taken down those tiger-level monsters, and aside of that, it's just been said that he's undefeated. So I feel like he's going to come in, take out Neon, and then take Waganma back to the Hero Association. Then he's going to be gone. And then the rest of the arc, he's not going to be included in it. So that's why he's just not fitting in with this story. He's kind of just doing his own thing here. Bryan asked, hey, Shonen, hope you're doing well. You know what? I guess I'm doing well. Thank you for asking, Bryan. I hope you are too. My first question is, out of any MMA fighter, past or present, who do you think would be a cool character in One Punch Man? My picks would be Tony Ferguson or Anderson Silva. Hey, this is a great question, because there are so many great MMA fighters, just like you mentioned Anderson Silva, and he would be a great candidate, considering that he's like a real-life character. Some of his feats and matches and performances are some of the greatest of all time, easily. Like, I remember back in, I guess like 10 years ago, when I was a wee lad, I got to see him going against Forrest Griffin at UFC 101 live. And I got to see that incredible performance, and it was like, I was in awe. Like, I was jaw-dropping from like the crazy stuff that he did. Because it was straight out of like a movie or a TV show or just, fiction. So him being like in One Punch Man would be very fitting, but I would say that I would like to see like a Nick Diaz or a Nate Diaz become like a character, a One Punch Man or something, because they are characters in themselves. And also, they kind of have like an interesting power dynamic if they were to cross over. They'd be like a Metal Bat Zombie Man type thing, like they don't really hit you with like huge, big, powerful, one-shot ending things. They're like volume, and they just beat you over time. But they also take a lot of damage too. They're very durable, and they just keep coming forward. But they also talk crap. You know, they have that abrasive personality too, and I think that would just be such a cool character to have. You know, like a Zombie Man, Metal Bat type of, even some Garo in there too. My second question is, out of all of the S-Class heroes, who would you most want to see get their own arc or expanded role? Thanks for the videos, bro. So definitely Blast. Blast interests me the most. He's the most intriguing in my opinion, and he probably will get his own arc and definitely expanded role in due time. So, you know, it's fair to say that, but just, you know, characters who probably aren't, Metal Bat, it's really up in the air if he's going to get his own arc or just an expanded role. I mean, he is going to get expanded because we know he's in Neo Heroes, but Metal Bat also interests me a lot, and I know he interests you guys too. I would just like to see more of him, more of his power getting explored, because it's not really completely understood at this point, and not even he himself understands it. Like, I want to know, is he immortal? You know, can he die and come back? You know, I just want to know more about him. And more about, like, just who he is as a person, too. Diabetes Boy asks, new Patreon, amazing content, keep it up, dude. Hey, thanks, Diabetes Boy. Your support means more to me than you know. Anyways, what do you think of the result of a battle between Bang and a character of the Naruto-verse would be? Obviously, he couldn't handle Rengan Madara or someone on that tier, but how about Jiraiya or even better Tsunade, since she's mostly just strength-based? I can't find any matchups like this online, and I really want to get someone else's opinion. Thanks, brah. So let me put it out there. Crossover battles, very subjective. I don't want to offend anybody. I feel like I'm talking about politics or religion when we get into this stuff. So just keep in mind this is all my opinion. But I'll gladly talk about this because I love both series. So we'll use Tsunade here since she's a good candidate. And I feel like Tsunade, her feats and abilities, probably more so lining up with that of a demon rather than a dragon. I really don't think she's on the dragon level. And we know that Bang can deal with dragons, you know, some of them very easily. And I don't feel like Tsunade's speed and overall strength is just enough to compete against Bang at a very high level. Because, you know, Bang has been shown to be super fast. Like, so fast that he can intercept Melzerguard instantly. So fast that he can instantly take out Fira Ugly and Gums, who are dragons, of course, cadres. And then his durability is insane. Like, let's go back to Melzerguard. He got hit by him super hard, so hard that Melzerguard thought he killed him, sent him through like a whole bunch of debris and rubble. And that kind of feat and the damage that he was taking would be a very big deal in Naruto. Like, if Tsunade were to do that or it were happen to her, it would probably be like a game or a fight ending thing. Just in my opinion, of course. But it just, I'm thinking like Tsunade more so lines up with like a Deep Sea King type character. Maybe Deep Sea King might even be stronger than her. Just based off of their feats. And I feel that he's probably faster than her too. And if we're going like thinking about what Bang would do to Deep Sea King, he would probably low diff him. But just to be safe, I'd say that Silverfang would likely mid diff Tsunade. Doesn't even have to go into abandonment really, because he would just you know, disintegrate her almost if he did. And I'm not downplaying Tsunade. It's just what I feel off of her feats and whatnot. I'm not trying to put down the Naruto verse. I love Naruto. I love it just as much as I love any of the other shows. But just I feel like we need to go to like 7th gate guy, maybe even 8th gate guy. Not going to go to night guy stuff, but to really go against Bang and to push him to like high diff status. But anyone who's like below that is probably going to get worked big time. Considering that the Water Stream Rock Smashing Fist is insane, and there's not many characters in Naruto I feel that have the level of taijutsu to be able to compete with that, outside of Guy, of course. But the choreography and the fight scenes are amazing, but just going off of the contextual clues and the skill that we've seen of Bang, it just seems to be at a different type of level than what the Naruto characters are generally capable of. Free-Tshirts asks, hey Shonen, real quick question this week. How far do you think Jet Nice Guy will make it in terms of hero ranking? If he's like Genos, then he can just keep getting upgrades and maybe make his way into the A class or maybe even the S class. Thanks again for your hard work. Hey, thank you for your support, Free-Tshirts. So, I think it's fair to say that Jet Nice Guy is likely going to be an A-class hero in the future. So, I don't know about an S-class. That's a little difficult. And I am going to make a video about the future of the S-class and who the heroes will be eventually, in my opinion, of course. But we are seeing Jet Nice Guy's journey for a reason. Like, he was kind of just there in the beginning, you know, in the Deep Sea King arc. He was just some guy, and then he got wrecked by Deep Sea King easily, and it could have just ended there, but it didn't. The data book expanded upon him. We found out that he had won the lottery, and he used the winnings to transform himself into a cyborg in order to get stronger so he could be a hero. And then we saw him, you know, come back in Chapter 93 when we found out that he was upgraded again, and he was so formidable that Sekigahara saw potential in him and added him to the support team. And like I said, we're seeing this for a reason because, I don't know, Jet Nice Guy is kind of having his own journey. Maybe he's like a Genos light, like a diet Genos in a way. And going back to Genos, we know that cyborgs can become significantly more powerful just through simple upgrades. I mean, granted, I'm saying simple, but you know what I mean. So I feel like Jet Nice Guy is definitely going to be into the A class. Maybe even in the Neo Heroes arc, because he's obviously going to get another upgrade because he just got wrecked by Neon. So, you know, we'll probably see it afterwards, and I feel like everybody's going to get a big rank boost, you know, after this arc. Definitely Gear Spur. So, Jet Nice Guy, A class for sure. I don't think S class. It's a possibility, of course, but I think, like, he's going to be A class just based off of his trajectory. Joshua D asks, hey Shonen, just thought of this after watching your video on Moomin Rider. Do you think it's possible that at the end of the series after Saitama beats God, that Moomin Rider then would save Saitama from depression with some really inspirational speech about what it means to be a hero or something? Just thought that might be a cool way for the series to end. So I think it's plausible to think something like this is going to happen. There is major significance to Moomin Rider, and like I talked about in that video, he represents what a true hero is. You know, despite him being kind of psychotic in his morals and whatnot, he still is a legitimate true hero, maybe more so than any of the other heroes in the series. And it is possible that the series caps off with him just giving like this legitimate speech to Saitama that actually it inflicts him with some real emotions. Like, it hits Saitama hard. Maybe he says just the right thing that Saitama needs to hear, because Saitama does respect Moomin Rider. He does listen to what he has to say. So maybe after the whole God encounter, and regardless of whatever happens with that, it's very possible that Moomin Rider is just the ending to this series that it was needed. Like, he just reassures Saitama that, you know, it's going to be okay and that you did what you needed to do, or whatever he's going to say. So it's very possible. Legendary says, hey Shonen, do you think Luffy will have no choice but to awaken his devil fruit? I'm thinking something like that's going to happen. So maybe he either awakens his devil fruit, or he somehow awakens Gear 5, or he just lets us know that he had Gear 5 the whole entire time. Like, he also developed that training with Rayleigh, possibly. But I think it's more likely that he's going to get the awakened devil fruit, because, you know, ever since it was first introduced, we always thought, like, okay, when's Luffy going to get this? And so far, he hasn't shown that he has it. And I feel like if he would have had it by now, he would have done it, you know, because he has been in some really sketchy situations. But also, he keeps pulling out stuff out of nowhere, you know, like Snake Man. So maybe he already has awakened his fruit and he's just waiting to use it. It's always a possibility, but maybe he can awaken on the spot, like Super Saiyan. Not really sure how the Devil Fruit Awakening works, because they haven't really gone too much into it. It's kind of just like, I've also awakened my Devil Fruit, so here it goes, you know. But if he were to awaken it against Kaido, I assume that it would really help him a lot. And I don't know if all awakenings are made equal, because the only two confirmed awakenings, at least from Paramecia's that we have seen, are from Daffy and Katakuri, and they both kind of did the same thing where they changed the environment. But then some people speculate that Magellan had an awakened fruit. That's not confirmed. And then there's the speculation that Chopper awakened his Zoan when he goes into the monster form and whatnot. And then there's the Impelled Down guys that we saw that are pretty much awakened Zoans, I guess. But if Luffy does awaken his fruit, then I guess based off of the trajectory that we've seen of the other ones, that he can turn the environment into rubber. And that would help him, because he could just bounce around ultra fast, you know, if he's just rubber on rubber, or maybe him turning something else into rubber is going to hinder what Kaido can do, possibly. But I feel for sure that it's going to happen. And in order for Luffy to defeat Kaido, we're going to get some Deus Ex-y stuff. Like, I don't think Luffy, after just training for the couple days that he has and him learning the Ryu Haki, is going to be enough to defeat Kaido. So we're going to need some Deus Ex-y type awakening or transformation type stuff for him to get the job done. Also, I think Zoro should defeat Kaido while Luffy beats Big Mom. It would make it so Zoro is just as strong as the sword god of Wano, and even give Zoro his sword back and give Luffy another territory besides Fishman Island. It just doesn't seem likely that Zoro's going to defeat Kaido. Now, it would be a gigantic twist, and it would certainly make things super interesting. But, I mean, maybe Zoro will clash with Kaido. Possibly. Maybe he'll team up with Luffy to take on Kaido. But I don't think that he's going to get the job done. And as for Big Mom, I think Kaido's probably going to kill her. I think he's the only one that's really capable of taking her out. He's probably going to double-cross her or something. I just don't see anyone else being able to defeat Big Mom. Unless Kizaru shows up and then he could somehow beat her, even though that seems unlikely. And then would Saitama join the Marines or Luffy's crew or become a warlord for the freedom of the position gives? So I feel that first Saitama will probably join the Marines. And then as he found out more and more crap about them, he'd probably either become a revolutionary or just do his own thing and have no allegiances. Because his morals are ambiguous, but there's so many gray areas in One Piece that there's no real good faction. Like the Marines are just as bad as the pirates, but there's good Marines and there's good pirates and everything. So it's difficult to say. So that's pretty much it for the video today, guys. Once again, I want to thank all 69 of my nice patrons. Guys, you know, it means the world to me. And I can't thank you enough for everything. So thank you again. And if you would like to be in next week's Q&A, simply check out my Patreon. The $5 tier will give you access to it. And if you haven't already, please subscribe as well. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.